The first time it happened, I put a bucket under it and sent a photograph. His reply came within the hour. He said he'd look into it. He used exactly those words, look into it, which I noted and which I would come to understand over the following months as the closest thing Terry had to a fixed phrase for situations that required action he had no intention of taking. The second time was 3 weeks later. The patch had spread. There were 2 places now rather than one, a damp, dark mark on the plaster that had the texture of something that had been wet for longer than 3 weeks, and a faint smell that I couldn't quite name but that I didn't like. I sent 2 photographs this time and included the date of the first report. He replied the following day. He said the roofer was busy. The third time I filmed it. It was November and it had been raining for 2 days straight and the water was coming through in 3 places. The original spot, a new area near the window, and a third point directly above the headboard of my bed. The carpet around the headboard had changed colour. The wall behind it had a texture that I recognised from photographs I had looked at online as the early stages of significant damp. I sent the video and asked for a timeline. He replied that evening. He said maybe I should move the bed to the other side of the room while he got it sorted. Move the bed. I read that message at 9 o'clock on a wet Tuesday evening with a bucket collecting water in my bedroom. And I understood something that I should perhaps have understood earlier. Terry was not going to fix this on his own initiative. He was going to suggest workarounds and mention busy roofers and hope that I was the kind of tenant who would absorb inconvenience quietly until eventually the problem became my problem and not his. I was not that kind of tenant. I photographed his message, added it to the folder I had started in October with the first report and the first non-response. Every message, every reply, every photograph, every date. Then I made a cup of tea and thought about what I was going to do. I called my friend Kareem the following morning. Kareem had been through something similar 2 years earlier. A different landlord, a different problem, but the same pattern of reported and ignored until Kareem had found the thing that had changed the dynamic overnight. The council, he said, housing enforcement. They have an inspection team and they write it up formally, and suddenly the landlord finds the roofer isn't busy anymore. I reported the disrepair to the council's housing enforcement team on a Monday morning. I sent them the photograph log. Every report, every response, every date. The video. The photograph of Terry's message suggesting I move the bed. A housing officer visited on the Wednesday. She walked through the bedroom slowly. She looked at the ceiling, at the walls, at the carpet near the headboard. She took her own photographs. She was thorough and quiet and she asked me 2 questions. How long had I been reporting it? And did I have written records? I had been reporting it for 4 months. I had comprehensive written records. She said she would be writing to the landlord formally within the week. I asked what that meant in practice. She said it meant he had a legal obligation to carry out the repairs within a defined timeline. She said if he failed to comply, there were further steps she could take. She said she would keep me informed. I thanked her. After she left, I sat down and felt something I hadn't felt since October. The particular relief of having moved a problem from something you are absorbing alone into something that is now a matter of record. Terry called me 2 days after the housing officer's letter arrived. His tone was different from every previous communication. The previous tone had been the tone of a man who was confident that time was on his side. This tone was different, careful, a little conciliatory. He said he had been in touch with the roofer. He said the roofer could come the following week. He said he wanted to get it sorted as quickly as possible and he hoped I understood he had been trying to deal with it. I said I was glad to hear the roofer was available. I did not say anything about the 4 months. I did not say anything about the bucket or the message about the bed or the housing officer's visit. I said I was glad the roofer was available and that I would make sure I was home. The roofer came the following Tuesday. He identified a section of failed flashing above the bedroom, traced the water pathway, and carried out the repair over 2 days. When he left, the ceiling was dry. The smell had already started to clear by the end of the week. The housing officer came back 3 weeks later for a follow-up visit. She confirmed the work had been completed satisfactorily. She sent me a copy of her report. I filed it in the folder. My tenancy ended 7 months later when I found somewhere I wanted more. Better building, quieter street, a landlord who had been recommended by 2 people I trusted. I gave proper notice, left the place clean and well photographed and received the deposit in full within 10 days. Terry sent a text on the last day saying I had been a good tenant and he was sorry to lose me. I read it. I did not reply. The bucket is under my kitchen sink now. I keep it there for the occasional over-enthusiastic plant. It has not been needed in a bedroom since. Has a landlord ever suggested you work around a problem instead of fixing it? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more complete stories with no part twos that never come, follow the page. New story every day.